Good evening and thank you for joining us on our news and current affairs program, Retrospect on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. Retrospect is a complete package of all the major news headlines that went out during the Adcon week. The news round is also expected to refresh your mind about last week while keeping you looking forward to the week ahead with the knowledge of the past. My name is Esther Mosu. Thank you for joining us. We'll be right back after this break. Please don't go away. Did you miss out on the news during the week? Not to worry. Retrospect is here to make up for the missed information. Retrospect is a complete package of all the major news headlines that made the airwaves from Sunday to Saturday. Join me, Esther Musu, on the program Retrospect on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja every Sunday at 6 p.m. Retrospect. We keep you informed. We start off the week from Monday when the federal government of Nigeria and Brazil signed a memorandum of understanding to advance private sector development in fertilizer production, hybrid seed technology, and agricultural finance, according to a statement from the Nigerian presidency and signed by the director, Abiodun Oladumejo. The deal was signed through the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. The statement also disclosed that the MOU was signed on behalf of the government by the Permanent Secretary of the FMAFAs, Mr. Temitope Fashidemi, and the President of GFGU, Professor Carlos Ivan Lee, at FGV headquarters in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, on the sidelines of the G20 Leaders Summit. Still on Monday, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency and the Nigerian Governors Forum said they would sign a memorandum of understanding to strengthen their collaboration against the climate change. A statement by NIMAT on Monday said the collaboration is in the interest of Nigerians' continued socio-economic development. Speaking at a meeting at NGF's office in Abuja over the weekend, Director General and Chief Executive Officer of NIMAT, Professor Carlos Anuzike, said that a formal relationship between the NGF and NIMAT is the best interest of the country as it will benefit the people. Of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, Monday said his ministry has complained to the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu over the harassment some Nigerians face at the hands of security agents stationed at various airports in the country. Keyamo said he got loads of reports about the misbehavior of some of the security operatives at the airport. The minister said even though these actions are not by officials of the Aviation Ministry, he has approached the NSA to address them because he is concerned about the harassment of passengers. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, says Nigerians remain the most viable aviation market in the whole of Africa. He said that with the potential to become an African aviation hub, it is high time the country started to open its market to attract investors who will help improve its infrastructure. Asked why he's bidding to host an air show in the country when the aviation infrastructures are not yet where they ought to be, the minister said, and I quote, "The fact that Nigeria has not fixed everything does not mean it will not try and advertise itself to bring investors into the country." According to him, the only way forward in terms of infrastructure is to attract private investors because budgetary allocations cannot carry the big infrastructure plan. The stories that made the headline for Monday, as we look at stories that made the headline for Tuesday. of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Wale on Tuesday, said the Nigerian government needs more borrowing to fund its budget, even though some ministries, departments and agencies have surpassed their revenue target. Edu said these are during an interactive sections of the Senate Joint Committee on Finance and National Planning and Economic Affairs on the 2025-2027 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework Fiscal Strategy paper. According to him, the borrowing needs to be done productively and efficiently based on senators' approval for proper funds of budget. Still on Tuesday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu urged Nigerians to join his administration in transforming the country from a consuming to a producing economy. He emphasized that every Nigerian must be involved in governance and production. President Tinubu made the call in Ilorin, Kwara State at the 10th National Labour Summit, an award organized by the Mike Moidi National Institute for Labour Studies, represented by the Minister of State of Labour and Employment, Honorable Nkiruka Onyejocha. The presidency on Tuesday said that 200 trucks were set to load petroleum products daily from Port Harcourt refinery. Speaking on his ex-handle, the special advisor on public communications and orientation to the president, Sunday Dare, said that the refinery's old wing has resumed operations with a production capacity of 60,000 barrels of crude oil per day. The Port Harcourt refinery has two wings. The old refinery comes on streams today with an installed production capacity of 60,000 barrels per day of crude oil. About 200 trucks are expected to load daily product from the refineries, renewing the hope of Nigerians. Recorded earlier, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited announced the commencement of crude oil processing at the government-owned facility. The commencement of production at Port Harcourt refinery comes after a series of failed deadlines. In 2021, the federal government approved $1.5 billion in equivalent to 1.2 billion euros to repair the plant, one of the country's biggest refineries, which was shut down 2 years before that. Despite being one of the largest producers of crude oil, Nigeria has over the years relied on the importation of petroleum products owing to the lack of local refinery capacity. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2023 announced an end to subsidy regime, leading to a hike in the cost of petrol. Central Bank of Nigeria on Tuesday raised the monetary policy rate to 27.50% from 27.25% as part of effort to combat surging inflation. This followed the meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The monetary policy rate measures benchmark interest rate. The CBN Governor Yemi Cardozo announced this in Abuja on Tuesday during the last MPC meeting of the year at the Apex Bank headquarters. Cardozo said the MPC voted unanimously to raise the MPR by 25 basis points from 27.25% to 27.50% and retain the cash reserve ratio at 50% for deposit money banks and 16% for merchant banks. With that story, we're in the stories that made the headline for Tuesday. So look at what stories that made the headline for Wednesday. On Wednesday, President Bola Tinubu began a two-day trip to France, the first state visit by a Nigerian leader in more than 2 decades. Military coups and changing attitude have lessons of France's influence on the African continent, where several nations have turned their backs to their former colonial rulers and grown increasingly fostered towards the European Union. That makes Tinubu's visit a positive sign for French President Emmanuel Macron. What sort of renewal between Paris and the African continent since his election in 2017? Nigeria is the continent's leading oil producers and has a robust firm industry, but challenges posed by insecurity and corruption has left 129 million Nigerians, more than half the country's population, living below the poverty line. Vice President Kashim Shettima on Wednesday morning departed Abuja for Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. A statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Communications, Stanley Kwacha, on Wednesday said Shettima will be attending the opening ceremony of the International Exhibition of Extractive and Energy Resources 2024 conference. The SAREX conference is an international event organized by the government of Côte d'Ivoire that focuses on policies and strategies for the sustainable development of extractive and energy industries. The conference will be held from November 27th to December 2nd, 2024 at Abidjan Exhibition Center. Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform, Taiwo Oyedele, on Wednesday alleged that the federal government has nothing to show for more than 60 taxes and levies collected across the country. He further noted that the federal government intends to halt the situations where Nigerian businesses are forced to pay tax even in the faces of laws, compiling the need for scrutiny and the system through key refunds. At the end of the explanations, lawmakers declined to ask questions, resolving to invite the team on the next legislative day to clarify aspects of the proposed refunds before a final resolution is taken. Oyedele's allegations followed the Senate's Wednesday's protest over the entry of the Federal Inland Revenue Service Chair, Zach Adejeje, and consultant to the upper chamber. The lawmakers suspended its rules to admit Adejeje and the consultant to explain what the tax refund bills entails. Away from that, the federal government has said that the Rural Emergency Service and Maternal Transportation Initiative is targeted at saving 1.7 million pregnant women in rural areas from maternal deaths. The National Emergency Medicine Service and Ambulance System representative Adegoke Dada said that the project being undertaken by the Federal Ministry of Health in collaboration with the World Health was out to fill the gaps in assessing appropriate, timely, and affordable health care by pregnant women. Dada, who spoke during the stakeholders meeting in Ado Ekiti State Capital on Wednesday, ahead of the project taking off in January 2025, said that the RASMAT activities were built to undertaken in 15 impacts project states, including Ekiti. A research person with NAPSMAS, Dr. Prosper Ribowa, said that under the RASMAT initiative, the World Bank would provide ambulances in different wards in the 15 beneficiary states for emergency transportation of pregnant women and children to primary healthcare centers and newborn centers. Still to come, Chairman, CEO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Honorable Abike on Wednesday, applauded the founders of the US-based non-governmental organization known as Doing Good Work in Africa for pioneering Nigerians' AI future with youth innovations in Lagos, Nigeria. Dabirewa stated that targeting the youth with AI initiative is the best form of diaspora engagement, which aligns with NIDCOM's Home Strings program, in which the second and third generation diaspora Nigerians are made to think of home with enthusiasm and excitement. The NIDCOM boss further commended the duo of Ola Aripobo and Emiola Abbas of the Doing Good Work in Africa and urged them to sustain the initiative and expand scope and structure, promising NIDCOM's continued support and engagement. Given a background to the AI Challenge Initiative, DOA announced the winners of DOA's AI Policy Challenge, a groundbreaking initiative aimed at engaging Nigerian youth in shaping national AI policy. As a key post-initiative of DOA's masterclass at Google Lagos in July, The challenge brought together over 100 young Nigerians who applied their talent to address critical AI policies concerns, focusing on education, healthcare, and intellectual property. In addition to catch prizes, winners will have the unique opportunity to collaborate on an AI project with the National Bureau of Statistics, sponsored by the Office of the SSAP SDG. In the meantime, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria on Wednesday inaugurated a screening and aviation monitoring committee to oversee the selection of air carriers and cargo conveyors for the 2025 Hajj exercise. The 32-man committee, chaired by NACON's Commission of Operations, Inspection and Licensing, Prof. Prince Onife Oloriwaju Elegushi, comprises of a representative from various aviation industries, stakeholders, state pilgrims, welfare boards, and security agencies. Emphasizing the importance of the committee's work in the entire process, the chairman, National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Professor Abdullahi Saleh Usman, while inaugurating members of the committee in Abuja, stressed the need for them to provide excellent services to Nigerians' pilgrims. Still on Wednesday, Chairman of the Police Service Commission, DIG Hashim Warugungu, has called for a new journalism orientation that uses the power of the pen as an instrument to mold and unite the Nigerian nation for rapid development. DIG Warugungu noted that the era of guerrilla journalism should give way for developmental journalism, adding that it should be more of a profession for fishing out negative energies, but one in partnership with both the government and the people in building a prosperous nation. His goodwill message at the 8th Nigerian Union of Journalists NUJ's Trainees National Delegate Conference in Owerri, November, that took place in November 27, 2024, the PSC chairman said the journalist, as the watchdog of the society, should be the forefront of providing in checks and balances in democracy. You are listening to Retrospect on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go away. Did you miss out on the news during the week? Not to worry. Retrospect is here to make up for the missed information. Retrospect is a complete package of all the major news headlines that made the airwaves from Sunday to Saturday. Join me, Esther Nwusu, on the program Retrospect on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja every Sunday at 6 p.m. Retrospect. We keep you informed. It's good to know you're still there. It is still Retrospect on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. And with that, now we look at stories that made the headline for Thursday as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu reaffirmed his administration's commitment to skills development as a means of empowering Nigerians and who has been out of school for extended period. He made this declaration during a dialogue with French President Emmanuel Macron at the Palais des Élysées in Paris on Thursday, November 28. Addressing the challenges faced by many Nigerians who missed out on formal education opportunities, Tinubu emphasized the importance of providing alternative pathways to productivity. According to a statement issued by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Nonoga, President Tinubu outlined plans to significantly reduce the number of out-of-school children through innovative return to class initiative and skills development programs. President Tinubu highlighted the government's ongoing effort to create a supportive framework that ensures school-age children re-enter classrooms, emphasizing the role of motivation and skills acquisition in this initiative. Accompanied by the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the President stressed to President Macron and First Lady Bridget Macron that Nigeria's developmental potential hangs on well-educated populace. Nigerian Airspace Management Agency on Thursday said it would soon recommend the collection of controversial $300 landing fee on helicopters operators in the country. Speaking at the ongoing 53rd Annual General Meeting of the Nigerian Air Traffic Controllers Association on Thursday in Kano State, the agency's director, Air Traffic Service, Tayo John, said the fee collection would ease the agency's current financial burden. Presenting a paper titled Financially Constrained Affecting Nigerians' Air Navigation Provision, Impact and Mitigation Strategies, John has said the federal government prevailed on its drop at the fee when it commenced its collection a few months ago, but declared that this time around there was no going back. He, however, did not note on a particular date the agency would begin the enforcement. The Senate on Thursday passed the 4 tax bills for second reading through voice voted. President Bola Tinubu transmitted the 4 tax and reform bills to the National Assembly for consideration on October. The move generated controversies with northern governors and other stakeholders kicking against the tax refunds. Worried by the situation, the presidency explained that the bill were not targeted at any particular region, but to develop the country. The Senate passed through second reading for bill of an act to establish the Joint Revenue Board, the Tax Appeal Tribunal, the Office of Tax on Board as part of Tinubu's comprehensive tax reform package. The proposed legislation seeks to harmonize, coordinate, and resolve disputes arising from revenue administration in Nigeria. The sections saw lawmakers deliberating on general principles of tax reform bills. Earlier, the Senate had gone into closed-door sections to discuss the 4 bills transmitted by President Tinubu on September 3rd, 2024, following the recommendation of Taiwo Oyedele's led Tax Refunds Committee. House of Representatives on Thursday, November 28, approved President Bola Tinubu's request for the confirmation of appointment of Lieutenant General Olufemi Oloyede as the substantive Chief of Army Staff. Oloyede was appointed acting as the Chief of Army Staff following the illness and subsequent death of late Lieutenant General Dawood Lawal. The President later was read on the floor of the House on Tuesday, November 26th by Speaker Abbas Tajuddin, while an ad hoc committee headed by the chairman of the Hats Committee on Defense, Baba Jimmy Benson, was constituted on Wednesday for the screening of General Oloyede. The meantime, chairman of the National Population Commission, Nasir Kwara, has announced the plans to conduct a Nigerian's population and housing census in 2025, nearly 2 decades after the last census in 2006. He made this known during the 2024 anniversary of the Nairobi Summit on International Conference on Population and Development held in Abuja on Thursday. The announcement came 18 years after Nigeria's last census in 2006, despite the United Nations recommendation for the country to conduct population count every 10 years. Previously, attempts to hold the census in 2023 were postponed under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. The delay was attributed to the desire to let the incoming administration take ownership of the process. Now we take a trip to look at stories that made the headline for Friday. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Friday called on African leaders to prioritize building an interconnected continent that resonates with its people and prioritize their welfare and development. Speaking during a state dinner hosted by the French government in Paris on Thursday night, Tinubu emphasized that Africa must embrace a collaborative and people-centered approach to governance and development. According to a statement issued by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Ononoga, the Nigerian leader encouraged both Nigerians and French citizens to uphold a cordial relationship shared by their nations. First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu accompanied the president to dinner along with Nigerian government officials, businessmen, and Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. The dinner, organized in honor of President Tinubu and First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, was attended by key French officials and dignitaries. Friday, President Bola Tinubu and French President Emmanuel Macron signed two agreements that will ensure a partnership on the development of critical infrastructure and long-term sustenance of agriculture and food security. Earlier, President Tinubu and President Macron witnessed the signing of agreement by the United Bank of Africa (UBA) Group Chairman Tony Lumenu and Mr. Anthony Almond, the French Minister of Economy, Finance and Industry, for bank to commence operation in Paris. The partnership agreement was signed at an economic forum attended by businessmen, captains of industries, governors, and some top government officials of both countries at Paris, the Elysee in Paris, French, during President Tinubu's state visit. Nigerian Army on Friday confirmed that investigative journalist Fusayo Soyumbo was arrested at an illegal bunkering site. The Army statement came in response to public outcry over Soyumbo's detention. The Foundation for Investigative Journalism revealed on X, formerly known as Twitter, that Soyumbo had been held in Army custody for the past 3 days. Confirming Soyumbo's arrest in a statement on Friday, the acting Deputy Director of 6th Division, Nigerian Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Danjuma, explained that the operations leading to Soyumbo's detention followed intelligence regarding a notorious gang of oil thieves involved in pipeline sabotage and illegal oil connection in the region. Danjuma stated that the suspects arrested at the site, including Soyumbo, are currently undergoing investigations to determine their level of involvement. With that story, we look at stories that made the headline for Saturday. On Saturday, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Wale Edu, said that the recent engagement between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his French counterpart, Emmanuel Macron, is a sign of good things that will happen to the Nigerian economy. Tinubu, who is in France on a state visit, had a meeting with Macron on Thursday where some deals were signed between both countries. Edu noted that the engagement between the two leaders bodies well for employment, creation of jobs, and growth of Nigerian industry. He said that a clear message from Tinubu to Macron was that with his ongoing reforms, starting to reset and stabilize the economy and prepare it for investment, Nigeria is very much open for business. On the part of Macron, Edu noted that the French leader encouraged his country's public and private sectors to do more to help Nigerian economy with their investment. A federal high court in Lagos on Saturday dismissed a fundamental rights suit filed by Okuni Idris, popularly known as Bobrisky, against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Bobrisky had sought 200 million naira from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for psychiatric trauma and demanded 1 billion naira from the National Assembly for the violation of his right to fair hearing. He has urged the court to restrain the EFCC and National Assembly from harassing, detaining, or declaring him wanted. Bobrisky has been embroiled in controversies after social media influencer Martin Ote leaked an audio recording alleged that he paid the EFCC 15 million naira to drop money laundering charges against him. Delivering judgment on a case, Justice Alexander Woyi ruled on November 28 that Bobrisky's claims of right violation lacked merit and were unsupported by credible evidence. The FCC spokesman Dele Oyewale disclosed this in a statement on Friday. That's our package on the program Retrospect on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, on Twitter, now known as X, at Citizen FM 937. You can also check us out on our website on citizenfm.ng. Let's make it a date, same time next week on Retrospect. I am Esther Mosu. Bye for now.